Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. The Texas Longhorns starting to pick up a little momentum in the transfer portal, landing one of the top safeties that we saw in the entire country last year, Andrew Mukuba, coming over from Clemson. And I'm a fan of this guy for two reasons. One, Andrew Mukuba, a guy that probably would have been a day two NFL draft pick had he declared for the NFL draft. He's a phenomenal college football player. But more importantly, I love supplementing that young but talented secondary with a veteran, versatile defensive back like Andrew Mukuba. You take a look at this Texas Longhorns secondary heading into 2024, and I get Texas fans, you got a lot to look forward to in this season, right? College football playoffs. But you start projecting and taking a look at what this secondary is going to look like in 2024. I mean, Malik Muhammad, Derek Williams have been playing phenomenal as true freshmen. You have a guy in Terrence Brooks who's going to be going into his third year, looks to be an all SEC caliber cornerback. Now you bring in a guy like Andrew Mukuba who does it all in the back end, and we'll dive a little deeper in terms of what Andrew Mukuba is going to bring to the Texas Longhorns. But what I look at is this is a young Texas secondary heading into 2024, and you're supplementing that young but very talented group with a veteran guy that's played a ton of football at an extremely high level over at Clemson. And that's not even to mention you're bringing in Kobe Black, Wardell Mack, and potentially Xavier Filsaime as well in that 2024 high school recruiting class. If you're a Texas Longhorn fan, I mean, obviously 2023, phenomenal year, but you start looking ahead to that SEC schedule in 2024, and you're really excited about what this Texas team is going to look like next year as well. Before we get into Andrew Mukuba, just talk a little bit about what he's going to bring to this Texas team. Just want to say thank you to you guys. It has been an absolute blast talking transfer portal, and the amount of support you guys have shown the boys has been absolutely amazing. Your support allows me to do what I do, so can't thank you guys enough for rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into Andrew Mukuba. But first, take a look at what Texas's approach is heading into the transfer portal. And we've talked a lot of different programs in terms of how it relates to transfer portal, what positions players they might want to target. You look at this Texas Longhorns team, they ain't much of a list, right? This is a really good Texas roster that's going to be really good in 2024. So you have all these programs having a laundry list, a grocery list of names, players, positions they need to address in the transfer portal. Texas is sitting here and saying, well, we don't need to add that much. This is a damn good roster heading into 2024. We're just going to take some of the top guys to supplement this group heading into 2024. They've done that with Andrew Mukuba, Matthew Golden, who we'll talk on a little bit later. But let's start talking a little bit about Andrew Mukuba. And the first thing that I want to say about Andrew Mukuba that excites me about this fit is, one, he's played really good football at Clemson. Again, this is a guy that heading into the year was supposed to be a top 100 NFL draft pick, and quite frankly, wouldn't be surprised if he still was had he entered his name into the NFL draft, was a little banged up in 2023. But what's most impressive is he played through those injuries and played extremely well. And what does Andrew Mukuba look like without the knee and shoulder injury and looking 100% healthy with this Texas team in 2024? That's probably what excites you the most. Is you saw a really good football player last year at Clemson. You might see a better one, a more healthy one in 2024 for the Texas Longhorns. Then you talk about the productivity. I mean, over his 3 years, started games as a true freshman, 143 tackles, 16 passes defended, interception, 2 fumble recovers. He's a difference maker in the back end. He gets his hands on a lot of footballs. He makes game-changing plays in the back end, and you've seen some Texas Longhorn players make those kind of game-changing plays. Andrew Mukuba is going to be one of them. But the trait I like the most in terms of Andrew Mukuba and what he brings to Texas is that versatility. And this is a guy that lines up all over the football field. Taking a look at the snaps in 2023, 90 snaps as a box defender, a guy that can play the run, be a presence in the run game, 315 in that slot, which is where I like him the most in terms of sticky man coverage against some of those slot receivers, but also having that physicality where you're lining up by the line of scrimmage by that football. You have to be able to run support. Andrew Mukuba can do that and be very good in man coverage. And then 158 as a free safety. He has the range to do that as well. So wherever he slots in, he's a difference maker. But in a world, and this is something we talk about a lot, is in the world of the evolving offenses and what defenses are doing to counteract that is getting as much speed on the field while also being able to stop the run. Andrew Mukuba provides that and also allows you to give a lot of different looks. Like having a guy that can be a box defender, be a free safety, play in the slot. You can mix up a lot of different looks to opposing offenses, move Andrew Mukuba around a lot, and have him kind of be an impact player at all parts of that football field. I'm looking at Andrew Mukuba, 14th overall prospect in the transfer portal, the number one safety. I don't know how many players. I mean, obviously the rankings go to the quarterbacks first. I don't know how many players, non-quarterbacks, I'm trying to add over Andrew Mukuba. That list probably includes Walter Nolan. That's probably it. So this is an Andrew Mukuba guy that is going to bring a ton of value to this Texas defense in 2024. And then you take a look at what they're doing in the transfer portal and kind of going back to what we said, there is not many holes that you see on this Texas team heading into that 2024 season. You wanted to maybe add some experience and depth to that back end. You got a lot of veteran guys potentially moving on, but it's not like they were in dire need of defensive backs. Again, Malik Muhammad, Derek Williams, Terrence Brooks, those guys are ball players. And then you have a ton of young guys coming in, but you might want an experienced guy. Well, they absolutely nailed it with Andrew Mukuba, a guy that's a 3-year starter, has played a ton of football at the highest level in the sport. And then you look at the wide receiver room and potentially losing Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, J.T. Sanders, Jordan Whittington. That's a lot of production. That's a lot of talent that you might be losing in that pass catcher room. You add a guy in Matthew Golden who through 2 seasons, 76 catches, 988 yards, 13 touchdowns, was banged up in 2023, but Texas fans know how good Matthew Golden is. You go back to his high school days. This was a guy that was sought after by a lot of Power 5 programs, 10.9 300-meter dash time with the physicality that he possesses. I mean, this is a wide receiver that could be a wide receiver 1. And it's not like we're sitting here extremely nervous about this Texas wide receiver room heading into 2024. I mean, even if you lose some of those guys. I mean, a guy like Jonte Cook, you're feeling really excited about. I wouldn't be surprised if they go add another wide receiver. And this is an offense that if you're a wide receiver and you're looking at, they're about to put 4 pass catchers out into the NFL draft next year. You want to go play for Coach Sark and this offense. And then you take a look at what they're bringing in the 2024 recruiting class, a guy like Ryan Wingo, who will play early, will play often for Texas in that 2024 season. There's not many holes. And if you're looking at where Texas might be going in the transfer portal, and obviously it'll get a little bit more clear when you decide and figure out who's going to the NFL draft and who's not. But what they're doing right now, just going out and getting some of the best football players available in the transfer portal, you'll see them add a few guys, but I don't think you'll see them add 10 to 15 guys because they don't need to add 10 to 15 guys. I'm not even sure if there's 10 to 15 guys in the transfer portal that are going to come in on this Texas roster and be difference makers. That's just because how good this Texas roster is right now and how good it will be in 2024. So you look at this Texas team doing kind of exactly what we thought they would do, and that is add some experience, add some high-end talent, but we don't need to flip this roster because this roster is already really, really good, not only this year, but it's going to be really, really good next year as well, bringing in a top 5 class. Big news for the Texas Longhorns. Wanted to hop on, talk about one of my favorite players in the transfer portal. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.